Now let's take you to this disturbing story. There's a video making the rounds online showing pregnant women who've been left to sleep on the cold floors, allegedly at the Rahima Moosa hospital in Johannesburg. Let's just show you some of that video right now so you can get a sense of what exactly it is I'm talking about. And while you have a look at those visuals, I'm joined by the person who took that video, the City of Johannesburg's MMC for Health and Social Development, Ashley Sauls The First. And he joins us now to talk more about this. MMC, thank you very much for your time this morning. I mean, truly disturbing visuals that our viewers are watching right now. And based on your engagement while you were at the hospital, what is the reason that there are no beds?
Well, thank you, Rofhiwa, and morning to all your viewers. Yes, it's very, very shocking footage. What happened was at midnight, I received photographs and video footage of this situation, and I didn't want to assume. So I got up and after midnight, around 1 a.m., I was at Rahima Moosa Hospital, and then I saw that shocking footage for myself. And one of the major reasons is that the hospital is overburdened. There's not enough beds for the demand, and as a result, you have that situation. And the matron, when I got an opportunity to speak to her, was clear that the biggest reason is because of the influx of undocumented foreigners that the hospital has to serve, and that's one of the major issues.
Yeah, but obviously this is not a new issue. It's probably something that's been ongoing for a while now. And I'm wondering, I mean, you were calling out for nurses and doctors to take accountability. If it's not the department's issue here in terms of ensuring that they're providing as much as they can. I understand the influx of undocumented foreign nationals, but in terms of the department's responsibility and accountability in this regard, surely you should be doing all that you can, or the MEC should be, with the rest of the team like yourself, should be doing everything that you can to make sure that scenes of this nature are not happening.
Yes, and I think that is the posture that we should take. I mean, I'm the MMC for health, and hospitals is not my competency. So I could have just brushed it off and said, well, that's nothing to do with me. They need to contact province and speak to the MEC. But I think the posture that we should have is, one, we've got to accept that this is a problem that South Africans are facing, and now I'm part of this government. And so I am saying that we take responsibility, and you're right. But if we take responsibility, we're then going to have to openly and transparently look at what's the issue. We cannot tiptoe around the issue. Then we should ask ourselves if the issue is uncontrolled, illegal immigration that is burning our systems, our health systems, and that it's negatively impacting South African citizens, then we got to ask, what are the solutions? What should we do? So it's just my third week in office right now, but even as such, I cannot look away and say it's not my responsibility, and neither can I point fingers and make it political. So as an MMC in the City of Johannesburg for Health, I want to apologize to South African citizens for the kind of services that my department, that our department is giving. And indeed, you are right. We've got to take accountability. And I want to reassure our citizens that that is what we're going to do.
And we hear your apology, MMC, but it means very little for those who are actually living in those situations. I mean, just as we have this conversation, I've been getting DMs on social media about the plight of nurses. They are overburdened, they are overworked. And I'm just wondering, you're saying we need solutions. Obviously, you're still going to be having those conversations with the relevant stakeholders. But in the interim, in the immediate time, MMC, what would you suggest be done?
We have to address the undocumented foreigner issue. We have to address it. And like I said, it's my third week in office right now. Secondly, the hospitals is not my responsibility, it's that of province. But I'm trying to say that as South Africans, as government officials, we need to now stop pointing fingers and now come together and say, what is the solution? And what the solution is, Rofhiwa, is that we have to look at this issue decisively. The fact of the matter is, undocumented foreigners, the uncontrolled control of illegal immigration in our city and in our country is a big issue, and it's negatively affecting South African citizens. So we can no longer tiptoe around the issue. We have to act decisively if we are going to serve South African citizens.
No, absolutely. And of course, one of the first points of call, MMC, would be to engage the Department of Home Affairs, because one would assume that a lot of this issue has to do with that, the borders not being handled correctly, and really just the security around our borders as a country.
100%. And then we've got to work very hard in joining hands together and not make it about politics, but make it about serving our people, and then join hands on all levels, local, provincial, and national, and say, let's put South Africans first and let's get objective solutions, sustainable solutions. As a matter of fact, in the city of Joburg, we have a hashtag that says Joba Cares, and CARES is an acronym for us that is, you are called to act with passion, respond with compassion, to execute with your duties with military precision, and then, of course, to create sustainable automated solutions for better health services. And so it is time that we restore the heart of service, but that's going to require a joint effort. I can't, but we can.
No, absolutely. MMC, did you get an opportunity to speak to some of those women who were forced to sit and sleep on the floors of the hospital and just listen to their plight?
Yes, most definitely. And the sad part is that some of the women was there for 3 days already. Some was overdue with their pregnancy. And so that is a dangerous situation. And mind you, there was beds available. It was just not in the ward designated for pregnant women. So I then said that they should use those beds. How can you have people on the floor when there are some empty beds, and the reason is because it's in a different ward? No, we've got to start having compassion again. And so I'd rather have a woman give birth in a ward that's not for birth than have a woman possibly giving birth on the floor, and they have to sleep on a cold floor. And so that then was action. And so now we've got to continue doing this, but we've got to do it, of course, in partnership with provincial government, and then but at clinics, etc., where it is within my competency, where I have the power to make decisive decisions, I will. But I'm asking all levels of government for us to come together and change this health system for the betterment of every single citizen within this country.
And just to clarify on that last point that you've just made, MMC, when you left the hospital last night, were all the women in beds, or had you organized for beds to be moved around in the hospital to make provision for the women? Please just explain the situation when you left. Were the women in a better condition?
Yes, the woman was, and I want to celebrate the matron for listening. And she was proactive. Of course, that is something that it doesn't require me to come for that to happen. But the fact that she was proactive, she listened. We put our heads together, and then she ensured that there are beds for those women that you see in that video there that was on the floor. And of course, we also need to deal with the attitude of our nurses. They are under pressure, and you can imagine any person, any human being, if you have so much pressure, you're going to trip or flip sometime. But because we are called for this, it is not something that is just a normal job. It must be a calling. We have to look at our staff, that how we treat people. We need to treat people with dignity. We need to have excessive patience. Some calls it long suffering, but we need to look at how we treat our people. And that was also one of the issues. As a matter of fact, I was a victim of that by one of the nurses, but we are going to deal with that. But we have to change our posture to how we treat our citizens. We need to treat them with dignity, because this field that I'm in is not a vocation, it's a calling.
No, absolutely. Thank you very much, MMC Ashley Sauls there at the Department of Health, joining us this morning to talk through that disturbing video that was on your screens just a short while ago, women sleeping on the floors allegedly at the Rahima Moosa Hospital. Obviously, we'll keep you updated on those developments as they continue to unfold.